Oh, today's a proper ranty day, isn't it? It's a bit of, right. My glasses keep steaming up with this thing. These glasses I don't actually need because I can see fine. I don't know. I've never had an eye test. I haven't had an eye test since one time I got a bit of plastic bottle stuck in my eye. That was the last time I had an eye test, and I wasn't even going to go until my wife was like, "You need to go to an optician. That eye should not look like that." Do you name the walrus you chase? And if so, what are some of the names? It's just the walrus. It's just the walrus. That's all it is. So I don't have a name for it. I don't have like Jimmy the walrus, Bob the walrus, Samantha the walrus. I don't have that. It's just the walrus. The walrus is the name. So whenever I say the walrus, I know exactly what I mean by that. It makes sense to me, and in the nicest way possible. I don't really care if it makes sense to anyone else. Like that's the thing. Like that's the language I use to describe it. So I know what the walrus is, and the walrus is that feeling I got from when I listened to "I Am the Walrus" by the Beatles that night. I'm not going to tell you the whole story in here. Do you know what I mean? Like it's all over the place on the stuff that I'm making. But that is the walrus. The walrus is that feeling, but then it's other things as well. Like it's just the name for it. It's a bit like Smurf. Know how the Smurfs have they just go they Smurf for everything. Like it's like that was a smurfing time, like that kind of thing. Like that's what the walrus is. The walrus is the name for loads of different things, and depending on what I'm talking about, I know what the walrus is. Like for example, if I'm sitting sweating how many followers I've got on Instagram, right? I have a wee kind of conversation with myself about it, and I'm like, look, do you chase numbers or do you chase the walrus? Is that what you chase the walrus? And the walrus isn't the number anymore. The walrus is whatever it needs to be to get me to stop thinking about the number. So the walrus is the name. It isn't the name of a specific walrus. Man, sometimes when I'm saying this stuff, I'm like, why? How did you even end up here? But the reason I ended up here is because I kept thinking about why. That's it. That's how I ended up here. Why did you become an artist? I didn't. I became a professional walrus chaser. But when I was an artist, and I realised that me saying that I'm not an artist is probably the most artistic thing anybody's ever said. Do you know what I mean? I realised the irony of that. Like, well, actually, I'm not an artist. Like, that's ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? Like, I get the irony, right? But when I started drawing, I just started drawing because it made me, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the feeling of drawing. That was it. I enjoyed the process of making the thing. So that was it. Like, and then when I started doing it, but it wasn't just art. Like, it was drawing. It was music to begin with. Like, and it still is. Like, I still play music, but like when I was making music, nothing else mattered. Like, if there was a thing that I was doing, whether it was drawing, or it was music, or it was filming a thing, or it was coming up with an idea, or any of that sort of stuff, when I'm doing that thing, nothing else in the world matters. Like, it's just that. I don't think about things like whether or not someone's going to like this, whether or not someone's going to buy this. I don't think about, like, how I'm going to pay for my MOT this year. Like, I don't think about that stuff. I just think about what I'm making. And it's that feeling, like, it's just you and this thing, and the rest of the world gets the sound turned down. Like, that's kind of how it feels. But I don't know. I became an artist because I don't think I could really do anything else. Like, I'm not saying like I really couldn't do anything else. Like, I would never get a job in Asda. Like, I've had jobs like that. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm not a fourth generation oil painter. Do you know what I mean? I never went to art school or any of that sort of stuff. But it was never a viable career path. Like, no one ever turned around to me and went, you could make it as an artist. Like, no one said that. No one has ever sat, at the age of 35, no one has sat me down and said, you could be an artist. This could be your job. Like, I had to do that myself. Like, and so it just feels right. It just feels right. The walrus chasing thing just feels right. So that's why I do it. There isn't a day I wake up and I go, well, you shouldn't be doing this. You should be doing, I don't know, figurative work, or you should be doing, like, you should give this up and go and start a business doing such and such, or maybe become a personal trainer or whatever. Like, none of that stuff interests me. I just know that when I'm in here, this is like working and I'm making things and I'm doing all my stuff. Like that's when I feel the most me. And I don't think that's a bad thing to feel like yourself. Like I really don't. So that's why I don't even know if I've answered that, man. But it's quite a. I didn't do it. I tell you what, I didn't become an artist for the money. Because there's no guarantee of money. Do you know what I mean? I didn't become an artist for the fame. Because there's no guarantee of fame. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing where it's like, I know people that I was in bands with and people that I hung about with and things that went on to become plumbers and electricians and stuff, and they done their 4-year apprenticeship and then they became a plumber. And they could go out into the world and be a plumber and no one would question them when they came to the front door with their tools going, but are you a plumber? Like no one would question that. And it was a guaranteed outcome. Do you know what I mean? Guaranteed. More guaranteed than going to university. Because I know lots of people that went into university and came out with a 4-year degree and couldn't get a job in the thing that they were doing. Do you know what I mean? And there was no path. There's no guaranteed path to becoming an artist. But I don't think you become one. Like I don't think you don't need anybody to give you permission to become an artist. The first time that you draw something, that's it. That's what you are. The first time you play a guitar, that's what you are. It doesn't matter if you've sold 1 million albums or your paintings go for £100,000. That doesn't matter. It doesn't come into it. It's totally subjective. If you make the thing and you like the thing, then you're right. That's it. That's the end of the equation. So, why did you become an artist? I'm not an artist. I'm a walrus chaser.